Mars is known as the red planet because of its reddish appearance. Mars is the fourth planet from the Sun in our solar system. A day on Mars, called a sol, is just over 24 hours. Mars has two small moons named Phobos and Deimos. Mars is about half the size of Earth. The tallest volcano in the solar system, Olympus Mons, is on Mars. Mars has the largest canyon in the solar system, Valles Marineris. The surface of Mars is covered in iron oxide, or rust, giving it its red color. Mars has seasons similar to Earth because of its tilted axis. The atmosphere on Mars is very thin and mostly made of carbon dioxide. Mars has dust storms that can cover the entire planet. The temperature on Mars can drop to minus 125 degrees Celsius at night. Mars has polar ice caps made of water and dry ice, frozen carbon dioxide. Scientists believe there could be liquid water under Mars' surface. The first successful flyby of Mars was by NASA's Mariner 4 in 1965. The first rover to land on Mars was Sojourner in 1997. The Curiosity rover has been exploring Mars since 2012. Mars' gravity is about 38% that of Earth's. A year on Mars is 687 Earth days long. Mars has the largest dust storms in the solar system. The air pressure on Mars is much lower than on Earth. Mars' sky is pinkish-red due to the dust in the atmosphere. The surface of Mars is rocky and covered with craters, volcanoes, and valleys. The average temperature on Mars is about minus 60 degrees Celsius. Mars has been visited by more spacecraft than any other planet except Earth. The first human mission to Mars is planned for the 2030s. Mars' thin atmosphere means it has very weak weather compared to Earth. Mars' surface has many dried-up riverbeds, indicating it once had flowing water. The Phoenix Mars lander found evidence of water ice in the Martian soil. Mars' moons, Phobos and Deimos, are thought to be captured asteroids. Mars has a canyon system called Noctis Labyrinthus, or the Labyrinth of Night. The InSight lander is studying the interior of Mars. Mars' core is thought to be made of iron, nickel, and sulfur. The surface gravity on Mars is about 0.375 that of Earth's. The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has been studying Mars from orbit since 2006. The Spirit and Opportunity rovers discovered evidence of ancient water on Mars. Mars' axial tilt is about 25 degrees, similar to Earth's 23.5 degrees. Mars has a thin layer of atmosphere called the exosphere. The first close-up photos of Mars were taken by Mariner 4. Mars' largest volcano, Olympus Mons, is about 13.6 miles high. The Opportunity rover set a record for the longest distance driven on another planet. Mars' equator is about 13,300 miles long. The average distance from Mars to the Sun is about 142 million miles. Mars has a radius of about 2,106 miles. Mars' crust is about 6 to 30 miles thick. The Mars Science Laboratory mission included the Curiosity rover. Mars' southern hemisphere is older and more cratered than the northern hemisphere. The Mars Odyssey spacecraft has been orbiting Mars since 2001. Mars' North Pole is covered by a layer of water ice. The Mars Global Surveyor mapped Mars from 1997 to 2006. Mars' South Pole has a seasonal cap of dry ice. The MAVEN mission studies Mars' atmosphere. Mars' largest canyon, Valles Marineris, is over 2,500 miles long. Mars' day, called a sol, is 24 hours and 39 minutes long. Mars has many impact craters, including the large Hellas Basin. The ExoMars mission aims to search for signs of life on Mars. Mars has regions called chaos terrain with a jumbled landscape. The Mars Pathfinder mission included the Sojourner rover. Mars has dust devils, which are like mini tornadoes. The Mars Atmosphere and Volatile Evolution MAVEN mission studies the planet's atmosphere. Mars polar ice caps grow and shrink with the seasons. The average surface temperature on Mars is -80 degrees Fahrenheit. Mars has been the focus of many science fiction stories and movies. The Perseverance rover landed on Mars in 2021 to search for signs of ancient life. Mars has a thin layer of clouds made mostly of water ice. The Martian year is nearly twice as long as an Earth year. Mars has large plains called volcanic plateaus. The Viking missions in the 1970s were the first to land on Mars and send back data. Mars' surface pressure is less than 1% of Earth's. The Mars 2020 mission includes the Ingenuity helicopter, the first aircraft to fly on another planet. Mars' atmosphere is made up of 95% carbon dioxide. Mars has a thin layer of water ice just below its surface. The color of Mars' sky can change from blue during the day to pink at sunset. Mars' orbit around the Sun is elliptical, causing temperature variations. The Phoenix lander found snow falling near Mars' North Pole. Mars' surface has many rocky plains covered with boulders. The Mars Curiosity rover found ancient organic molecules in rock samples. Mars has a feature called the Tharsis Bulge, a huge volcanic plateau. Mars' gravity is too weak to hold onto a thick atmosphere. Mars' surface is mostly basalt, a type of volcanic rock. The Mars Exploration Rover mission included the Spirit and Opportunity rovers. The Mars InSight lander is studying the planet's interior structure. Mars' southern highlands are heavily cratered and ancient. Mars' northern lowlands are smoother and younger than the southern highlands. Mars has gullies that may have been formed by flowing water. The Mars Pathfinder mission included a lander and the first rover, Sojourner. Mars' thin atmosphere means it has weak weather patterns. Mars' surface is covered with a layer of iron-rich dust. The Mars Express mission, launched by the European Space Agency, studies the planet from orbit. Mars' polar ice caps contain frozen water and carbon dioxide. Mars' surface has large regions called smooth plains. The Viking landers conducted experiments to search for signs of life on Mars. Mars' thin atmosphere allows more radiation to reach its surface. Mars has a large volcano called Ischrius Mons. Mars' thin atmosphere creates large temperature swings between day and night. The Mars Odyssey spacecraft discovered large amounts of hydrogen just below the surface. Mars' moons, Phobos and Deimos, are irregularly shaped. Mars' surface has many interesting rock formations. The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has captured detailed images of the planet's surface. Mars is a popular target for future human exploration missions.